The word mitzvah could mean commandment. But the word mitzvah is spelled mem, tzadik, vav, hey. You heard of gematria? You heard of numeric values. Every single letter has a number. What I'm going to teach you is something else. There's another way to understand the codes of our Torah, besides with numbers. There's also something called atbash. Atbash is a system where we take letters in a word and we flip it for the reverse letter. For example, it's called atbash because aleph, what's the opposite letter of the aleph? The tav, hence at. What's the next letter? The bet. What's the opposite letter of the bet? The shin, bash. Next is gar, gimel. The opposite is the resh. So you count 3 forward, you count 3 backwards. And the same goes forwards and backwards for every single letter. So when you see a word and you start to flip it for the other reverse letter, sometimes you could come out to a different word and you see that there's a connection, and God is trying to teach us that there's something deep behind this one word. If you take the word mitzvah and you take the first letter, the mem, what is the reverse letter of the mem? The opposite letter of the mem. So if you would take a look how many letters you have to go forwards with the mem, and then you have to count the same amount of letters backwards, you're going to come to the letter yud. So the reverse letter of the mem is the yud. That's the atbash of the mem. The next letter in the word mitzvah is a tzaddik. So you have 5 letters going backwards is a tzaddik. What is 5 letters going forwards in the aleph bet? Aleph bet, gimel, dalid, hey. So now we have 2 letters that we just reversed. The mem and the tzaddik for a yud and a hey. How do you spell mitzvah? Mem, tzaddik, vav, hey. What are the remaining letters? The vav and the hey. So when we flip the mem and the tzaddik, you get yud, k. And then you have the remaining letters of vav, hey, which means that the reason that they even called it mitzvah is because they didn't want to say God's name in vain. So they said, you know what, let's just take the first 2 letters and reverse them for the opposite letter. So what they did in their clever state of mind is they took the yud, they turned it into a mem. And they took the hey and they turned it into a tzaddik. And like that, they called it a mitzvah. This is the secret behind the word mitzvah. That when you're performing a mitzvah, you are clinging on to Hashem's name. As the pasuk says, cling on to God's name. But God's name is not tangible. How are we supposed to cling on to it? Hashem is rather teaching us, the way you cling on to my name is, you do mitzvot. And by doing the mitzvot, you are in truth and essence coming closer to me.